Hello everyone. Today we will be solving equations that are perfect square. So let's have an example to see how does it work when we have a perfect square equations. So just a reminder, or just to give you a hint first, anything that has a parenthesis, that means they are together. So if you look at this one here, the 3 is not together with the x minus 1. So the 3, we can go ahead and say we can subtract 3 from both sides, because others are going to think, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and add 1 from both sides. That's not how it works, because again, the 1 is inside the parentheses. You can't do that. So you cannot do it that way. So you cannot add 1 from both sides, but instead the 3 is not together with these. That means you can go ahead and subtract 3 from both sides. So I go ahead and subtract 3 over here. So this would come out to be, so we can cross out the positive 3 and the negative 3. So we are left with x minus 1 squared is equal to 7 minus 3 is 4. Now, we are supposed to solve for x. The antidote for squared is square root. That means in order that you can undo the square, you have to square root it. So I will square root the left side of the equation. I will also square root the right side of the equation so they get even. So from here, we can go ahead and cross out the squared and the square root. So this is gonna get crossed out. So we are left with x minus 1 is equal to, this is gonna be, if we square root the right side of the equation here, that would be both positive and negative 4. So we square rooted the, that's a positive and negative 2, because that's the square root of 4 is a 2. So I changed that to 2 over here. So then we have two solutions for this. So the first solution would be x minus 1 is equal to positive 2. So that's a positive 2. And then the other solution is x minus 1 equals negative 2. Again, once we square root the right side of the equation, we get both positives and negative. So I wrote positive negative 2. Square root of 4 is 2, so I put a positive negative 2. So from here, I can go ahead and add 1 from both sides plus 1 here. So then we are able to get x. For the first x is 3. And then the other x would be, we add 1 from both sides plus 1 here. So then the other x is negative 1. So these are the two x's. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try these problems out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so let's go over what you have there. So since there are no other numbers outside of the parentheses, we can go ahead and square root both sides. Again, the antidote, or the one that, in order that you can undo the squared, is you square root it. So once I square root both sides of the equation, then the square root and the squared gets crossed out. So I am left with x minus 3 equals, once we square it the right side, it's both positive and negative, and that's a 5. Square root of 25 is 5. So then there are two solutions that we have here. We have x minus 3 is equal to positive 5, and x minus 3 equals negative 5. And then from here, I solve for x, so plus 3 and plus 3 here. So then this comes out to be x is equal to 8. And then we add 3 from both sides plus 3 here. So we can cross out the 3 and 3. So we are left with x is equal to negative 2. Did you get 8 and negative 2 as your x? Good. Perfect. Let's have the next example here. What about if there are, if there's a coefficient for x? It's pretty much the same thing, what we did with the first part. In this problem right here, in order that I can get rid of the squared, I need to square root both sides. So whatever I do on one side of the equation, I have to do it on the other side as well. So this is, this gets crossed out. So I'm left with 2x. So that's gonna be 2x minus 1 is equal to plus minus 6, because the square root of 36 is 6. So from here, I can have two answers for this. So that would be 2x minus 1 equals positive 6, and 2x minus 1 equals negative 6. And so I add 1 from both sides plus 1 here. So then I get 2x is equal to 7. And then I divide both sides by 2. I divide this by 2 here. So I'm left with x is equal to 7 halves. So 7 over 2. And then we do the same thing on the other side. So plus 1 and plus 1 here. So I am left with 2x is equal to negative 5. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2 because I want the x by itself. So we're left with x is equal to negative 5 halves. So these are the two x's. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so here we're gonna add 1 from both sides plus 1 here. So this 1 is gonna get, it's gonna be crossed out. So we are left with 3x plus 4 squared is equal to 25. And we want to get rid of the squared. So we are going to square root it. So square root both sides. So then we can cross this square root and the squared out. So we are left with 3x plus 4 equals plus minus 5. So that's a plus minus 5 because the square root of 25 is 5. So we have two answers for this. So the first one is 3x plus 4 equals positive 5. And 3x plus 4 equals negative 5. So then we subtract 4 from both sides, minus 4 here. So I am left with 3x is equal to 1. And then we divide both sides by 3. I divide this by 3. So then I'm left with x is equal to 1/3. And then on the other side, we do the same thing. That would be a minus 4 and minus 4. So we are left with 3x is equal to negative 9. And we divide both sides by 3. I divide this by 3. So then we cross the 3 out. So x is equal to negative 3. Did you get 1/3 and negative 3 as your x? Good. Perfect. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!